Take a seat, grab a cup. It's tea time with T-Gerf.
Hey guys, welcome to Tea Time with T-Gerf, where I've got honest answers to your honest questions. Let's check out today's topics. Let's see what we got. Okay. Today's topic question is, how can we continue to build genuine connections with others while social distancing? Wow. How can we continue to build genuine connections? Well, that is a really good question. I know right now it's being overstated and for various reasons. Obviously, number one, social distancing is supposed to be helping um, lower the curve and stop the spread of COVID-19, all these things, and but it's honestly driving some people absolutely crazy because it's kind of those things where it's like, you're social distancing, but stay connected, stay close. For some people, it's one giant irony that they're not even sure how it plays out. So a lot of times there's one or two responses. One being you distance from everybody and everything, and you just kind of keep to yourself, don't talk to anybody, or you're the other person that's finding and using every means of communication possible to the point where you're maybe even talking to yourself at this point, which is great. Whatever it takes. But as far as ways to actually build genuine connections, one way I would say is that um, right now it really is a testing of how you communicate. And so one thing you need to be really honest about is understanding how you appreciate to talk to people, whether that's via text or phone calls, or if it's more Zoom chats, for especially those of you that are students right now. um, you may have had all the Zoom you can handle, honestly. If it's using Hangout, or if it's Marco Polo, or there are several different ways to go about this. But you need to be very honest about how you best communicate with people, and then you need to also be willing to find out how other people best communicate, and maybe give a little. Everybody responds differently to what's going on right now to this social distancing. I mean, some people literally, like, they are tired of the screen. They're like, they're done, and so they're not doing another Zoom, they're not doing another, uh, you know, any kind of hangout on the phone. They're just not. So they're only texting, or maybe they are actually calling from their phone, which is actually what it was originally intended for. Um, and that's fine. Actually, I appreciate that because I don't have to look at you, but I can hear your voice, and so that helps me, and I'm sure it helps a lot of other people when they're talking to me as well. But genuine connections, I would say, is you need to be honest in your conversations as well. Not just honest with yourself, but be honest in your conversations. Talk about how you feel. Talk about what you're thinking. You know, um, it's okay to not be okay. The problem is that a lot of you guys, what ends up happening is that you you say you say in one way that you miss people and that you want to be close to them, but right now you can't physically be close to them. But yet when you talk to them, you don't have much to say because you just don't want to say anything, or you 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 might be lazy, or in some cases you just might be stuck. You don't know how to communicate what's going on inside, and again, different reasons, different people. But I just want to encourage you to think through. In order to be genuine, you got to be transparent. You got to have a little vulnerability. Um, and obviously, this is going to be with everybody. It's going to be with people that you talk to, your friends. Maybe it's friendships that honestly, uh, before all this stuff started happening, maybe they weren't the best state. Maybe they were a little bit rocky, and now this has helped you actually kind of rekindle some of your friendship, maybe even improve it in a kind of a unique way. So yeah, you need to be honest. You need to be vulnerable. You need to be transparent. You need to be open with yourself and with the people you're talking to. And I would say stay consistent in your communication. Learn what kind of space you need. Learn what kind of space your friends need. Um, Not everybody can handle this whole like everyday stuff, okay? And I applaud you if you're one of those people. If you are one of the people that you're all about it, you're like, I just keep my phone on 24/7 just in case someone hops on there. To each his own. There's nothing wrong with that, but I just think you ought to also take some time for yourself as well, or else you're not going to have a whole lot to offer in the next conversation you have. And so, yeah, I think a lot of different ways to do this, but stay connected to people. You can't stay connected to everybody, but I would encourage everybody to find that one, two, three people at least. I say it this way: Jesus had James, John, and Peter as his like three amigos, the guys that he was the closest with. So I'm thinking if Jesus had three, that you and I can, three sounds like a good number. Um, and so, yeah, make it happen, get connected, and make it real. So that's what I would say about that. A couple other questions that you guys sent in, a couple candid questions you guys sent in. Um, how do you explain dinosaurs? Okay. Well, um, I don't really have a long explanation other than I first was introduced to dinosaurs with an old movie called Land Before Time, which right now some of you may have even looked that one up and watched all 100 of them, however many they've made by this time. But as far as explaining dinosaurs, one thing I would say is it just depends what explanation you're looking for, maybe, because honestly, there's some things um, that go with science and faith, and there is a bridge there, But in some cases, um, I'll say it like this: some things just really don't matter. Um, they're made out to be a way bigger issue, and I'm not saying the questions aren't legitimate. What I'm saying is that if you're not careful, you'll make everything that you have questions about a stumbling block to find truth. And so, what I would say is, there's been a lot of research. There's been a lot of things done from different people. As a matter of fact, there was actually a really interesting TED talk I watched this last year, asking about why do we never see anything about baby dinosaurs. And this one guy was talking about how potentially um, there's there's been findings of dinosaurs saying that there's different kinds of dinosaurs, but really it could have just been the one dinosaur in different stages of its life as it matured and started to grow and change and look differently. Hence, why are there no baby dinosaurs ever found? I thought that was interesting. So yeah, as far as explaining dinosaurs, I would say hey, I'm all for them. I mean, but I would say do your research. Figure out what exactly you wanna stand on. And here's something too: you don't have to become the expert on this question even or the answer that you're looking for to say you have an answer. You can come to a conclusion, stop, put it back on the shelf, and move on with your life in other areas. For some of you, like I said, don't you end up making everything a stumbling block to where like you can't get over something or it becomes this giant hurdle. There's a whole lot that all works together. There's a lot of science, a lot of faith, there's a lot of history. There's so many things that are working together and not actually against each other. If you'll at least take the time to come up with some conclusions and then talk to somebody about it. And I mean, I'd love to talk to you about it. It's fine. Um, I'm not an expert, but I think we can at least learn something from each other and actually come to some decent conclusions that we can settle with. And then as we go on, we grow, we learn more, we can take it back off the shelf and look at it some more. I'd encourage you to do that with anything. So that's my answer for dinosaurs. Yeah, go for it. Last question. Next one here is: are soulmates real? Wow. Um, so relationships in general are something that I'm really about in the sense of my passion and my burden for different reasons. And let me just give you a very short answer as far as I'm concerned. Are soulmates real? No, they're not real. And don't be offended. Listen to what I'm saying. Which, by the way, can I just help somebody today? Most of us, when we're offended, it's because we choose to be offended. So let's just use this as an example right now. If you're choosing to be offended right now, I'm just asking you to take the higher ground and not be that for a second and just listen to what I'm saying. Here's what I would say. Everybody's looking for the perfect one because the reality is they're hoping for the best. And look, I don't blame you. I mean, it's good to have ambition. It's good to have goals. It's good to say, man, I want someone that's going to be amazing, and that's all good. Couple of things to think about. If you're going to look for the one, then you need to be the one for someone else. Um, don't look for somebody to complete you. Don't look for somebody else to have everything put together and you be a hot mess. Make sure you're going to be the one, which I do find to be ironic in so much of the soulmate talk, is that everybody wants the perfect one, but they're not willing to try to be perfect themselves either. So it's it's kind of hypocritical. Second thing is, if you want to find the perfect one, I'll give you a very easy way to understand how to find that person. Whenever you are engaged to someone to be married, and you on that wedding day you say I do, and you take your vows, and you make a commitment to that person, uh, amongst witnesses and God Himself, you have found the one, because you made them the one. Okay. um, Everybody's looking for a reason for the other person to be the reason why they mess up or things don't work out. But the reality is, it's called working it out. And so I just want to encourage you. Like, people are messy, including you, including me. And actually, I was just talking about this today with somebody. Is that we try to avoid the pain and the hurt and the mess that we all have inside of us. And when you put two messy people together, it gets messy. And so all of a sudden now, what happens is people make excuses, especially young people. Well, I just don't think that we were meant for each other, and I think maybe you're not the one, or maybe whatever. And you know what? Um, there may be some truth to that, but the problem is we're very guilty about pointing out everything that's wrong with the other person, who just a few weeks ago you swore was your soulmate, and now you're not quite sure. So I just want to encourage you, instead of chasing something that you just hope is there and that you wish was there, and then you blame for not being there, that you would show up. You would be the person that you need to be for that other person you're looking for one day. And just learn to commit. Learn 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 that you're not perfect, and you're not going to find the perfect one. Um, I love this saying. My wife and I live by this. We've done it for years, and I'm so grateful. And we're not perfect either. We've been married coming up on 9 years, and we have a beautiful family. And you know what? She's the one, and she was the one back in May of 2011. Whenever I said I do. And we say this: we may not have it all together, but together we have it all. So we chose to be each other's soulmate. But honestly, let's get real. Um, it's not because it's destiny. It's because we chose a destiny to follow, and that is our commitment in marriage to one another, our commitment to God and our faith with one another, and our commitment to uphold the vows we took almost 9 years ago. So that's what I feel about soulmates. I hope, again, I'd love to further the conversation, because you know what? If it was up to me, I would just find the ones that look good together, line them up, put the ring on the fingers, and say, hey, y'all go after it. Man, y'all be married, be blessed, and it'd make my life a whole lot easier. But the reality is we can't do that. But if you want to do that, let me know. So, hey, I appreciate you guys so much sending in your questions. I look forward to next time chatting with you and talking more about it. But until next time, I'm T-Gerf, and that's the T.